Okay, finally, a few things about the standard 3 questions. Okay, for this, I'm asking you to attach a response as a typed double-spaced document. Please be sure to proofread for spelling and grammar before your submission. Essentially, this is over the course of these assessments, we're slowly building towards a written analysis, practicing for you to write out your support and your supporting evidence for your claims on how you're analyzing this music with words. Okay, so this is the first assessment that helps you build towards that. Standard 3, asking you to answer the following questions as part of your written response. Number 1, how did you determine the Roman numerals for your analysis? In this case, remember that we looked at the pitch material, okay, through each bar. We're looking at all the notes, okay, and seeing whether they can reasonably be analyzed as part of a chord. Okay, so you can expound on that and tell me a little bit more about how you determine the Roman numerals for your analysis. In measure 3, how did you explain the 2 notes in the top staff that is not part of the chord indicated in the bottom staff? And we talked about this in that video. Right? And so these are the 2 notes, and I would like you to tell me a little bit about why and how you have analyzed these as non-chord tones. Another question, how did you determine the length of each phrase? Remember, phrases end with a cadence. Phrases must end with a cadence. So in your analysis of phrases and in your explanations to me about how you determine how long a phrase is, remember that the phrase has to end with a cadence. So one way of supporting your answer is to tell me whether there is a cadence at the end of that phrase and what that cadence is and how is that supported by the evidence that you saw. Did the composer use similar motivic material between the 2 phrases? Support your answer with specific examples. And we went over that in the previous video about the motivic similarity between the first phrase and the second phrase. So here you have essentially very, very similar, identical for 2.5 bars material between the melody in the first phrase and the second phrase and so forth. Right? So to be very, very specific about how you can show that you understand how those 2 melodies are similar. Finally, in creating the phrase chart, if you had analyzed the 2 phrases as being part of a period, how did you come to this conclusion? And what type of period did you analyze this as why, and why? Right? So this has to do with telling me whether or not you understand whether the 2 phrases constitute a period, what that means, right? And then also if it's a period, whether it's a symmetric, asymmetric period, and whether it's a parallel or contrasting period. Remember, these are either or. There are 2 parameters. It's either asymmetric or symmetric, and then it's either parallel or contrasting. Okay. So to tell me, again, using words, a little bit more about how you can support your analysis in this piece. Okay, so over the course of these 4 videos, again, we went over how we completed this analysis assessment of this sample piece. And so for your assessment assignments, you're going to use the same kind of techniques to look at new pieces, continue and look at them and see how you can arrive at your own analysis. Okay.